And we're back for another post-match show, the first one of the new year. Thank God 2020 has gone away. Hopefully, we can look forward into a better year than last year. As always, I'm Chris, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Irish Tommy. How you feeling, mate?
Feeling good. Great start to 2021.
Yep.
That's how you want to start the year, with a win, 3 points. Obviously, we'll get into the weeds as regards the performance and all that, but at the end of the day, if you take away the 3 points, you're going to be happy. So yeah, that's exactly what we all wanted coming
Yep.
into 2021. So begin as you mean to go on, as they say.
Yeah.
So I know, and it was a needed 3 points. We hadn't won a game in a little bit, so yeah, just very relieved and happy.
Yeah, it is also the 1 year anniversary of Moyes' first match back in charge of West Ham, his first or his second stint here in the club. Obviously, that one last year was a 4-0 victory over Bournemouth. So right now, Moyes has a good record on New Year's Day's games.
Yeah, no, he didn't take any credit for the 4-0 game against Bournemouth because I think he'd only taken about 2 training sessions, but he was the manager, so he'll have to take the credit whether he likes it or not, I guess. But yeah, he seems to like New Year's Day games.
Yeah, and he seems to be finally. It seems like we're finally settling in. It feels like Moyes is getting the results he wants. I need to pull up the count or the table here, just because I know that we've now pulled level with 6 clubs that are in the top or all tied for the top 5. But I mean, in the last 5 matches, we've only had 1 defeat, and it even extends farther than that. So right now, we're on good form, relatively good form.
Yeah, I mean, our form dipped a bit, but look, I suppose that was always going to happen. The problem we've had previously is that when our form did dip, we just kept losing, sliding down the table, looking over our shoulders at the relegation zone. I think the difference now is that even when our form isn't great and we're not at our best and we have a little bit of a fall off in form, we're still able to dig out results and not spiral out of control. So despite the fact we weren't great in certain games, we were still able to come out with something. We've if nothing else, Moyes has made us actually very difficult to beat, even if we're not at 100% at full tilt. So kudos to him for that, because we're in a position now, whereas if we can steady the ship again and improve our performances and start playing better again, we're not adrift. We're still up there in the pack, and we can shoot back up the table into that 5th, 6th place spot, or in stay in the hunt for it. So that's a good thing that we have now. Is we're not nice to play.
Yeah,
we're hard to beat.
Right now, the way that I look at it is we have cemented a good foundation to potentially kick off to have a phenomenal season, at least for West Ham standards. And now we do need some reinforcements in January. Obviously, now the transfer window has opened, so hopefully there'll be some movement. Obviously, with our board, that's a big question and a big question mark. But I mean, we have the makings for this to be a very good run this season.
Yeah, we do. And especially this season, I think, because Premier League is the most competitive I've ever seen it this season.
As so many 6 teams are tied for 5 through 10.
Yeah. I mean, that's I don't know if I've ever seen that. I mean, even the difference, I'd say, from 1st place to 10th is not much. You're talking about a few points.
So the difference between us and Liverpool is only 7 points right now.
7 points, and this is in January. Normally in January, the difference between 10th place and the top team is quite big. It's a lot of points already, coming up to halfway through the season. So it's actually an incredibly competitive season. And long may it last, because I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant, the Premier League this year.
Yeah. And for those of you who are just joining us now or haven't somehow seen, obviously West Ham today beat Everton 1-0 thanks to a late Thomas Souček goal. And I'll say this early, if you have any questions with regards to this match or the season in general or our outlook on the season, please feel free to get it in, and we'll answer as many questions as we can as we go through this. Trying to get more people involved this year. But that goal was brilliant. Souček played well again. I really can't pick out a terrible performance. Obviously, every match there's some better than others. And obviously, the headline of this match too was Lucas Fabianski going down in warm-ups with an injury undisclosed as of yet. I'll see if I can find that during the course of this stream, if there's been any news on that. But yet, Darren Randolph still steps in and does phenomenal.
Yeah, obviously, Fabianski injury is a worry. Like I say, we're all just kind of waiting now to see what the story is with that. I hope it's not a recurrence of his groin injury, because that will keep him out for a while. Let's hope it was just a tweak of something, and they just pulled him, as a precautionary measure to make sure we have him available for the next game. So yeah, that was a blow right before the game, because obviously a keeper coming in cold who hasn't played in a while can be a problem. But thankfully, defensively we were incredibly good tonight, and what Randolph did have to deal with was all just routine stuff.
Yeah.
So, he wasn't really putting any bad spots, So he didn't have a single save to make that was anything but routine. So it was really just, if Randolph is going to be playing in the next game, I think that's a perfect kind of game to get him reintroduced and
get
him loosened up.
It is fortunate that we have a 10-day break before our next match, and even the FA Cup, which I imagine Lucas Fabianski will not start that. So, in essence, the next match that Fabianski really would have is just over 2 weeks away now. It's 15 days where it'd be home to Burnley. So, fortunately, we have some time.
Yes, and even if he's not ready for that, I mean, it still means that he has these 2 weeks where he hasn't missed a game for us. So it still means he won't miss, hopefully, very many games. Yeah. So if he's not going to be ready for the Burnley game, then there's absolutely no doubt David Martin will start against Stockport.
Yeah, and what you had said too earlier about it, Moyes has made us a team that where it's difficult to play against. I think that massively goes to David Moyes getting the defense kind of just set right. We're finally looking at a good defense, and I think today also showed that we can play in a back four. I mean, it's not like a back four is not the end of the world, like some people were thinking after the Brighton match.
No, it's not. We're perfectly capable. I think one of the main reasons we can do that now is that we now have an absolutely fantastic right back. That right back position was a real problem for us previously. It was a position we all were screaming out, we have to get a right back in. But we've done that with Kufal, and he's been doing absolutely brilliantly. At right back, he looks absolutely phenomenal, I have to say. I thought he was excellent again tonight. So at least 3 of the back 4 that we have are good. Cresswell is doing okay. I don't think he can keep that up.
No.
For 90 minutes every week. But like you say, he's got a break now. I still think I'd like to see a better left back come in.
I don't.
Because I still do not believe Cresswell can play 90 minutes. If we're having games every weekend and he's being asked to play 90 minutes every weekend at left back, I think he burns out pretty quick. So I still think we need a left back. But at the moment, he's doing well. He's not in a situation where he's getting burnt out. So, it's pretty solid back there right now. And of course, we have, 2 magnificent midfielders in front of them.
Yeah.
I mean, we're absolutely blessed with that partnership in front of them with Rice, Souček. it cannot be underestimated. It's absolutely brilliant. And I was going to talk about this anyway, but seeing as we're talking about us defensively, I'll just do it now. And I'm not one for hyperbole. I'm not one for kind of exaggeration. But it has to be said, and I hand on heart absolutely mean this. In my opinion, Angelo Ogbonna is one of the very best centre backs in world football.
I agree.
He is absolutely brilliant.
And I think it was last season. I couldn't point to the exact episode of this post-match show that we do. But you had made a comment that Angelo Ogbonna is like fine wine. He's getting better with age, just like all Italian defenders seem to do. And I mean, it just keeps coming up in spades. I mean, he's getting. It looks like he's improving every single match.
Yeah, it's the thing. I don't know what it is with Italian defenders. If you want to talk about some of the best, if you talk to anyone right now, let's say since the turn of the century, name me some of the best defenders in the world, there will be a list, and a number of the players on that list will be Italian centre backs. Right?
Wholeheartedly,
100% easily. Maguire's a donkey compared to Ogbonna.
True.
But if you were to ask people of a list of, name me some of the best centre backs, since the turn of the century or the last 30 years or something, a number of them will be Italian. The Italians have always been able to produce great centre backs, great defenders in general, frankly. And like I say, they do seem to age like a fine wine. The Italian centre backs seem to be at their very best in their 30s. And Ogbonna seems to be no exception. And there's a reason he's back in the Italian squad. And for Ogbonna to be in the Italian squad, because they always have quality defenders, tells you how highly regarded he is, even back home in Italy. Despite the fact he's playing in the Premier League, it's not lost on them, because I'm sure they see Premier League games and they watch him play and they think, yeah, look, this guy is just so good.
My question would be, with Harry Maguire, United bought him for $80 million. What does that make Angelo Ogbonna worth?
Well, he's worth more than Maguire because he's a better defender than Maguire. Now, look, obviously at his age, he doesn't, he probably won't fetch that kind of money or anything like it. But what you would get from him would be far better than what you'll ever get from Maguire. I mean, he'd be the steal of the century, because I'll tell you this, and I really mean this, Chris. You could take Angelo Ogbonna out of West Ham. You could put him into any of the top teams in the world. So you could drop him into Man United's back four, Liverpool's back four, Juve, Real Madrid, Barca, PSG, Bayern Munich. I don't care who it is. He would never, ever look out of place. He would look like he absolutely belongs at that level. He is that good a defender. He's absolutely brilliant.
This is true. As he plays for West Ham, 20 pounds. Yep.
And I hope no one ever realizes it.
I mean,
because not like he's two, but he looks after himself.
Yeah,
he takes great care of himself physically and mentally, and he's never relied on pace. So his pace never comes into it. It doesn't matter if he gets a small bit slower. Who noticed anyway? His pace. It doesn't. It's not a factor in his defending. So we could honestly have Angelo Ogbonna for the next 4 years easy.
Yeah.
Until he's 36 at least. I guarantee you, even at 34 and 35, he's still going to be a brilliant defender.
Yeah, I mean, given the track record of Italian defenders, yes. I wouldn't be surprised if he's still playing at this level at 36.
There was a game earlier this season. I think it might have been... Was it the Leicester game? It was live on TV when we beat them 3-0. And I think the commentator almost started to apologise to the viewers that he's having to mention Ogbonna again. To the point where he said, listen, If a ball is cleared, I'm just not going to say the name. You know who it is. It's like he was just all over that game. He was everywhere, just clearing everything, tidying everything up. Ogbonna's just absolutely magnificent. We are absolutely blessed to have Ogbonna.
He
Blessed.
was so vocal in that back line. I think that that is a big reason as to the success. But I also do want to point out too. I mean, we've had Diop, Balbuena, and now Craig Dawson in that back line, and it still looked the same for the most part. So to that credit, I think someone had said it earlier that Dawson's actually turning out to be a decent loan signing for us.
Yeah.
We brought him in solely for depth, and he's turning
Yeah.
out to be a decent defender.
Yeah, look, he's played 2 full games now, and he's
I,
done very well in both. Now, I think there will be other games where that won't suit him, where he could get exposed. But in games like that, where we basically, and which is most games really, where we basically, we sit pretty deep. He's defending with his back to goal in the area. Everything is kind of in front of him. I think as long in any game like that, I think Dawson should be absolutely fine because he's very experienced. His positioning is very good. His reading of the game is good. He's good in the air. Doesn't get caught out of position. So as long as he's in those games where we're behind the ball, he's back to goal, he's facing the play, I think we'll have no problem. He'll continue to play well. The only issue then would be in a game maybe where if we are playing a higher line, and then there's more space in behind. If he gets turned and has to get back towards our own goal, that's when we start to think, oh shit, right? But that's probably true of Balbuena as well anyway. So, as long as he's back to goal, everything in front of him, which is most games for us, because we don't dominate teams territorially. We don't very often play a high line, so he should be fine. And he's done very well in these 2 games, and Balbuena must be thinking, oh crap, I'm maybe not going to get back in the team.
I don't know about that. I think I prefer Balbuena a little bit to Dawson, but if Dawson does need to come in, I feel a lot more confident after these past 2 games than I did at the start of the season when everyone's like, "Oh, this is a joke signing. Like, why waste the loan?"
Yeah, and I think the Balbuena Dawson thing, I think we don't really know where David Moyes' head is at as regards the 2 of them. You never know with the manager which one they just like a bit more. So it'll be interesting to see because they'll both be fit and available for the Burnley game, and it'll be interesting to see which one he goes with. I suspect he'll stick with Dawson against Burnley because they do like to get crosses into the box for Barnes and Wood. And they've caused us problems in the air before. So I think he might just say, you know what, Dawson is just that bit more physical than Balbuena. He's that bit stronger in the air. And I'd agree, frankly, I think he would suit that game a little bit better than Balbuena. There's not much in it, but I think he'll just edge it for Dawson on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, fair play to him, regardless of all that. Fair play to him because, none of us rated him and thought he was going to be any good. But whether it's just motivation, which I suppose can do a lot for a player, if you give player a new motivation and a new determination that, right, I've gone from a championship team that didn't really want to play me, and now I'm at a big club, in the Premier League, and and it just kind of gets their tail up, and it just reinvigorates them, and I think we're seeing that kind of reinvigorated player now that just really, really wants to be here and wants to put in performances that will keep him here, and not just at the club but in the team. So he's highly motivated. So that's obviously showing on the pitch.
Yeah. I want to talk about our other loan signing in Ben Rama, but first, I was just scrolling through Twitter trying to see if there was any word of Moyes' press conference. I haven't been able to find it yet, but I have just seen this. This is an incredible stat. Since joining West Ham, Thomas Souček has as many Premier League goals as Kevin De Bruyne, Riyad Mahrez, and Tammy Abraham. He has outscored the likes of Roberto Firmino, Mason Greenwood, Gabriel Jesus, and Richarlison. That's massive.
That is massive for a midfielder. absolutely massive. I mean, yeah, I mean, Jesus, where do you start with Socek?
He's he's on pace for double-digit goals right now in the Premier League as a central defensive midfielder.
Yeah,
How
if you're
the hell
getting
did you get this guy?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know who scouted him, who decided let's sign Thomas Socek. I don't know how it came about. I don't know who gets the credit for it. But wow. I mean, we stole the man.
Yeah, I mean,
whoever negotiated the deal for Socek should have been wearing a fucking mask, a ski mask, because they fucking robbed. It was daylight robbery on Slavia Prague. Slavia Prague must be looking at it now thinking, oh man, why didn't we throw in a fucking 20% sell-on
I thought they did. I thought they did.
Is there a sell-on clause? I hope there is for Slavia Prague.
If anyone in the chat knows, please let me know. But I think that there is. I know that there was a sell-on clause in what is it? Slavia Prague's contract when they bought Souček from his original club, and it was 20% of that. So
which is great for them because they're only a small club.
It was their entire year's pay, like salary, basically.
Yeah. No, I hope for Slavia Prague's sake that they have, a sell-on clause there because that they get a percentage of the sell-on clause. Because I'll tell you what, Chris, if he keeps doing this, if Socek keeps doing this, we're going to be in just as much danger of losing him as Rice.
Well, actually, sources I have seen comments with regards to that saying that Souček is absolutely committed to West Ham. He doesn't seem like the type that he's like a glory hunter or anything like that. He doesn't seem like he wanted to use West Ham as a stepping stone. He says that he's fully committed to West Ham and he doesn't necessarily want to go anywhere right now. And plus, West Ham have said that we would not consider anything less than 50 million, over double our money on him.
Oh yeah. I mean, for Socek, absolutely, like 50 million in the story. And I'm sure he is absolutely committed. I mean, if you're Thomas Socek, how happy are you right now?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, this is your dreams come true, right? You're the captain of the Czech Republic, so that's safe. That's never going to change. You're playing now in the best league in the world,
in London.
Yeah, in London. Your reputation is growing. You're playing every week.
And
you're playing alongside Declan Rice. You're playing in a team that wins a share of games and draws and doesn't lose too many games now. And you're scoring goals. You're playing well. I mean, all these Christmases come at once. And you can say the same thing for Sofal. Sofal's dreams just came true.
Yeah. Rumors of Juve wanting him. The first rumors were Bayern wanted him, and we have said that we're not selling for less than 50 million. And Socek doesn't want to go. So I would doubt he would want to go to Italy either.
Oh.
So
we'll see. But obviously, look, Juve are a huge club and playing the Champions League. But
West Ham already have such faith in him that we're using him as our scout in essence. We're like, oh, you seem to be really good. Do you have any good friends you want to bring in for cheap?
Yeah, well, I mean, we could be grabbing another one, if Sima gets signed.
Well, linked with 3 current or former Slavia Prague players. Sima, their current goalkeeper, and a defender who's currently in the Russian league.
Yeah. So I don't know how many of those types of players are at Slavia that can make that step up.
Well, Sufal has big.
Yeah. So I mean, like Sofal at right back is absolutely brilliant. He's okay as a wing back, but you can see it's not a role he's used to. He played okay at wing back. He was decent, but at right back, I mean, he looks like an absolute shutdown, to use an NFL term, a shutdown corner.
Yeah,
right? He just, whoever's over there, he just bullies them. They can do nothing. He just shuts whoever is over there down completely in games so far, and he still manages to get forward and dovetail with Bowen. Get some ball down there, throw some crosses in. Sofal as a right back is absolutely brilliant. We're I feel like we're a team who are kind of on the cusp.
Hey, really quickly, Tommy. Wally, the reason Frederick was not even on the bench, Moyes confirmed it. Fredericks has COVID, so he was never going to make. He couldn't make the bench.
Yeah, he would have been on the bench, I think, only for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I feel like with the players we have, we're just on the cusp. If we can add just those 2 or 3 quality players just in the right spots on the team, we could really push on and become a serious side that are genuinely looking to qualify for Europe.
Yeah.
We're close, because if you look around at the quality, like from back to front, okay, if we were to get, say, like a really, really good keeper, he may have been, because it was in London. If we can get a really quality keeper, if we can get a really good quality left back / left wing back, someone like Zinchenko from City, immediately improves the team. If we can get a striker, like and I don't mean someone to come in when Antonio's injured. I mean, like right now on the pitch, really, really quality striker who works in the system, someone with a bit of pace, who's a really good finisher. That would absolutely transform it for me.
Yeah,
transform it. I mean, it could really transform the team. So I feel like we're very close. If we can just get those couple of players that we need to kind of put us over the edge into like a team that does qualify for Europa League.
Yeah. I did see someone ask earlier, and we'll get back to this question in a bit. Where is it? Do you think we'll go full strength for the Stockport game on the back end of this 10-day break? I think it's going to be a bit of a mixed. I think with such a long break, I think you're going to see some key players getting at least a half in just to make sure that they're good to go. But I don't think we're going to be putting out the lineup that we did today against Stockport.
Yeah, I would rest key players.
Yes.
So who don't need to be playing in that game. I wouldn't risk Ogbonna. All right, there's a kind of I do think. Oh no, yeah. I think so too. I think we need to really start thinking.
We need a Tim Fabianski rant.
Yeah, you won't get it from me. He's done a really good job for us.
Another clean sheet again today too. It wasn't even Fabianski this time around.
Yeah, Randolph, but still a clean sheet's a clean sheet. What was I talking about? Oh, keeper. Yeah. I do think, and it's nothing against Fab. Like I say, I think he's done a really good job.
It's just the age.
But yeah. I just think, and I do think we need someone a bit better quality. So I'd be hoping that we could actually, for once, maybe actually spend some real money on a keeper, someone young, who's really talented, that can be there for just years and years and be a great keeper for us. We definitely need that. But I think the other player I saw mentioned here in the comments was Ben Rama, and I'm sure people want to talk about Ben Rama as well. I was delighted to see him get 90 minutes.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that.
Oh, yes, sorry. The game, the Stockport game was what we were on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be mostly under 23s. I think he'll put a much stronger team out than that. I think key players will be rested.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would rest Ogbonna. We have enough good centre backs that we can play against Stockport. We don't need Ogbonna in there.
Apparently it might be the groin.
That was my fear. I think I said it to you in the DMs, wasn't it? When we found out, Chris, that my fear is that he was practicing kickouts and he's got that same groin injury. Even,
Randolph had a couple slips on some kickoff or
yeah, it was weird. It was like, what, Randolph? Like, what the hell's wrong with your legs?
it must
Just
be
like,
grass. It must have been slippery.
yeah, I don't know what that was about. His kickouts were just weird. No, it seemed to sort it out second half, but in the first half, especially, it was like, what are you doing? Like, what? It looked like he couldn't kick the ball at full power or something. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like he was holding back on the kicks. So I've no idea what the hell that was about. But anyway, Stockport game. I'll get it this time. So I would rest Ogbonna, I'd rest Socek and Rice. They don't need to be playing in that game. Last thing we want is one of them getting injured in a cup game away at fucking Stockport
Yeah.
and being out for fucking 3 months. I'd rest the likes of Bowen. He doesn't need to play in that. I'd rest Antonio because we just do not need him getting injured again.
I'd give Antonio a half just to make sure.
If you feel like he needs the match fitness, fine, play him for a half. I've no problem with that. But yeah, I would play a weakened team, obviously, but it wouldn't be kids. It wouldn't be all kids. I would put a couple in there.
12s.
Yeah, I would play. I would put even strongly consider Ashby at right back. Whenever he's played, he's looked really good. He's looked really good. So I think it'll be a mixture of some of the more seasoned pros in the team, and with a couple of youngsters thrown in. He might play Elise at centre back. What I would love to see. Odebeko. Yeah, I was just about to say it. I would love to see Odebeko playing up top for the 90 minutes in that game. I think he's too good for Stockport. I think he would be a real handful for them and could bag himself a goal or two. I really want to see him 90 minutes for the first team, even if it's a cup game away at Stockport. We need to start getting him some minutes because I know I spoke about this before, Chris.
Last episode, yep.
Last episode, I spoke about Odebeko. If anyone wants to go back and watch it, and I raved about him. I think this kid has really got something about him. I think he's going to be a brilliant player for us. The way he strikes a ball, I've seen his training ground stuff where he's practicing his striking and stuff. You're like, man, this kid can hit a ball.
Yeah,
and he is accurate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd love to see that for the Stockport game. So that's that.
Well, let's move on though, because we do need to talk about Ben Rama.
Yeah,
Ben Rama. We kind of a couple matches ago, you had said that in the offseason we need to bulk Ben Rama up so he can kind of put in on those challenges.
Yeah.
I think he watched the stream and heard you and has been in the gym because my Lord, was he bodying people players off the ball. It was incredible. And I thought he was out there to impress. He was out there trying to impress, and I think he did.
Yeah. No, I didn't think he had a great game.
No.
But going forward, particularly, didn't have a great game. But the work rate was there.
The fight was there too.
Yeah, he was everywhere. He put himself about. He got stuck in a bit. Now he is still a bit lightweight. I'd still like to see him bulk up a bit, and especially that
more gym time.
Yeah, especially that upper body strength, which is hugely important in the Premier League. You have to be able to shield the ball. You have to be able to kind of body people all the time, body them off the ball, and the more upper body strength you have, the better. So he needs to bulk up a bit, which can be done. That's not a big deal. You can put him on the right program, get him beefed up a bit. But his application was excellent. He was everywhere. He was helping out defensively. He was getting forward. He wasn't brilliant getting forward. That doesn't particularly bother me, because what I think he needs more than anything is games. Because you have to remember, as talented as he is, and he's hugely talented, but he's very young and he's very inexperienced. He has no experience at Premier League level. So he has time on his side, and the only way he can really grow and really improve and blossom and fulfill his potential is to play games. And he's the kind of player, because he's young and so talented, as he gains more experience, more confidence, settles into the Premier League, gets used to the pace of it, gets used to the physicality of it, gets used to having a little bit less time on the ball, he'll just continue to improve and hopefully become the player that we all hope he can become. So I was delighted to see him get 90 minutes, and I hope he gets a lot more of them, frankly. I'd love to see him continue to start and finish games, because the faster he improves and gets towards his potential, the better for us.
Do you play him again? Would you play him against Stockport?
You know, I would. I think he needs the minutes. I think, you know, he needs the minutes. And the more he can get right now, because he's not going to burn out. He hasn't played that much, and he's young, so he can play the games. He's not going to burn out. So I'd play him. I'd give him another 90 minutes against Stockport. I think it'll be good for him. The more games he gets right now, the better. And frankly, with the talent he has against Stockport, he'd very likely just rip them to shreds. You know, they likes of Stockport should not be able to handle Benrahma whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. I do want to talk about as well Antonio, but first, I this question was posed. I have no idea, but if any American knows if the Stockport match is going to be streamed on Peacock, please let us know, because I have no idea how to watch that as of right now. I know it's 10 days away, but still would like to know.
Is our game with Stockport is live on TV on this side of the pond?
Yeah,
so you shouldn't have any problems finding a stream.
Bowen is the most subbed player in the Prem this season. I don't doubt that.
Yeah, we know he gets taken off every game, but it doesn't bother me, and I don't think it bothers him.
Because and then we put on Yarmolenko, which is he's a slower, taller version of Bowen.
Yeah, I think the reason is that Bowen's work rate is so huge.
He tires himself.
That he does tire late in games, and I think he does need to come off before. I don't think we should be playing Bowen for 90 minutes every game. I think it's a deliberate thing from Moyes, and I'm sure Moyes has told him it's because you work so hard for the team that we don't want to burn you out. Want to be careful about that. So we'll whip you off after. Yeah, we'll whip you off after 70 minutes. But I don't think Bowen cares, because he starts every game.
Yeah.
If you're a player who's starting every game and you're getting those 70, 75 minutes every game, I think you can probably live with, sitting out the last 15.
He doesn't look like he's that upset on the bench.
No, I think he knows it's coming, and I'm sure it's been explained to him.
No,
that he does tire in the last 20 minutes, and they just want to get fresh legs in there. But rest assured, Jared, you'll be starting the next game.
Yeah,
you'll be starting every game.
Maybe not against Stockport.
Well, no, I mean in Premier League.
Yeah.
But so I'm sure Jared has no issue with that.
But it was also good to see Antonio again today.
Yes,
he
looked a lot better than he did the last time we brought him back from injury.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't just throw him to the wolves this time.
Yeah, I don't know what happened last time, but he was not right.
Yeah,
like you could see. I can't remember who he came back in against after his last injury, but you could see straight away when he came on, he did not look right at all. But this time he did. He looked okay this time, and obviously he was very lively. His pace was there. He was making them runs. He looked quick. He looked strong. He looked ready to play. So that was great to see. Fingers crossed he can make it to the end of the season. It's unlikely, but miracles can happen. But
I do think that the most important in this window, if we could only get one player, I think it has to be a striker.
Yeah, I think what Moyes does with Bowen, he needs to really start thinking about doing with Antonio.
I agree.
Getting him to that 70, 75 minutes, and then saying, right, get him out of there. Let him rest up those hamstrings. Because again, I don't think Antonio is a player that you can play for 90 minutes every game, because eventually the hamstring will go. So if we have a striker on the bench who can come in and basically do the same job.
Yeah, like for like.
I'll tell you what, how's about this? I want to hear what you and the chat think about this. Just out of interest. There's there's rumors going around that Wolves are very interested in Haller. Right?
Really?
Yes, that's the rumor that Wolves are looking at Haller. They're very interested in bringing him in. If it so happened that we were approached by Wolves in this transfer window, would you put it beyond Moyes to say, okay, we can do Haller, but we want Adama Traore?
That'd be a ballsy move. I mean,
And he could play Adama Traore up top, because that's what he would do. Big, strong, unbelievable pace.
The only issue with the Traore right now is, I don't know if you had seen it on Twitter, he has gone a full calendar year without scoring now.
Yes, that's the issue, is the finishing with Traore.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do it.
One of my issues with Allaire. So
yeah, no, I wouldn't do it, because for that reason, I don't think his finishing is good enough.
I would consider it only if it was in the region of at least 35 million, if not more.
You're not getting that for Haller.
Yeah, and well,
for Haller, you're looking at around 25.
Even if we do get someone like Adama Traore, it's still selling to a team right around us in the table. Because
I wouldn't care when it comes to Haller.
Yeah,
to be honest, I want him gone, and if we can get the money we want for him, regardless of who it is, I know I normally would agree with you, and that's strategy, like not selling to kind of rivals in the table, but
to another degree too, whatever money we get, we know this board, it's not going to be reinvested, and so we're going to have an issue. As many problems as I have with Allaire, it's going to leave us with Antonio by himself.
To be fair, Chris, I think if we sell Haller for that kind of money, we will get a striker. They'll have to. There's no choice. They'll have to buy a striker. It's as simple as that. Yeah, exactly.
And drive him to himself.
Exactly, and bring back Traore with you.
Yeah.
So,
but if you're getting something reasonable for Allaire, I think this is the sentiment. I had not heard the Allaire to Wolves rumor, but that is interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of left field one, isn't it? I don't know if it's true, but that's what's going around, shall we say? But yeah, I'd drive him to Wolverhampton myself as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It would free up a lot. In recouping a lot of that money, or even a good chunk of that, you would hope that it would be reinvested. And you and I were talking beforehand as well about Moyes talking about how one of his goals in the new year is to build a recruitment network here at West Ham. I mean, what Moyes is honestly saying all the right things for the fans, at least, if nothing else. I mean, right now we have a manager who knows at least what the fans are looking for. The players are enjoying playing under him, and he's getting good results. Anyone who says that Moyes doesn't deserve a new contract, I'm sorry, right now you're ludicrous. I don't care if there's better managers out there. He's getting us the results we need. He's almost looking at it as a fan, in my opinion. Like, he knows what we need to do, and he's trying to get it done.
Yeah, look, everything is moving in the right direction. You know, he's improving us. There's no question. He's improving us. And, you know, he's not in the job that long, let's remember. This is his first kind of full season when he had a summer and everything, and pre-season, as disrupted as it was. This is his first time being able to start a season as West Ham manager, and he's doing really well. And like you say, the players love the guy. Love him. They'd run through brick walls for him.
Yeah.
So, and we're moving in the right direction. We really are. Things are improving. We've got a lot of positives. Yes, sometimes it drives you crazy when he reverts to type, like in the Brighton game, and puts out an ultra negative team. So yeah, he'll do that sometimes. And sometimes with the substitutions, you'll be like, David, come on. But only sometimes. It's not like this is every week, right? So I think he's done enough, and that we've made enough progress that we should kind of give him his new contract. And let's be honest, even with a new contract, he's not going to be on huge money.
No.
It'll be a very, very reasonable contract for a Premier League manager.
Here's another
middle of the road contract, like in what we're paying him. So even if it doesn't work out, say into next season, you know, he's given a 2-year extension. It's not going to cost you a pile of money to sack him anyway. So, it's not like if you give him a 2-year contract, you're stuck with him for the entire time. There's no major downside to us in giving him a new contract now. And I think he deserves it at this point. We have to, at some point, you have to say, you know what, David, okay, you've done more than enough now to show that you're doing a really good job and you're moving us in the right direction. So,
and here's another reason too. With regards to the players are obviously enjoying playing under him. They've come out and said it thus far. If the board want to sabotage this club as much as possible, they won't renew Moyes. Because I mean, you think about it, the players are looking at this as okay, they're respecting what we want. This is how we like. This is the guy we want to lead us forward. We're playing well, all of that. The minute you decide not to get rid or not to retain Moyes, you're losing probably Souček, you're losing Rice, your Benrahma's gone. I mean, you're losing your best assets, and we're likely going to fall down in the table and probably in the league.
Yeah, well, I think actually this is one time where having a very stingy board works a little bit in our favor and in David Moyes' favor. They know that even with a new contract, they're not going to be paying him big money. They're going to give him his contract. Don't worry about that. I'm absolutely good. They're going to give David Moyes an extension. I mean, there's no question. But they're not going to go out and try and sign another Pellegrini, a household name, flashy manager who wants a bunch of money and wants all the say so and everything. And he's getting his extension. I'm sure.
Contract, and the board does this and sells all those players in the summer. Moyes will walk.
Look, it depends on the circumstances. I don't think we can stop Declan Rice going somewhere. If the bid comes in from a major club like a Chelsea or Man United and the money is right, and Declan Rice says, look, I want to take this opportunity. I want to go somewhere where I can maybe win trophies and play Champions League. What are you going to do? You have to sell him. In those circumstances, you can't blame the board or Moyes. There's no blame there. You can't even blame Rice.
Yeah.
That's just football. That's just one of them things you have to accept. If we were to sell a player who didn't want to leave, like Souček, and just take, if a bid came in, 30 million for Souček, and somebody said, oh yeah, we'll take 30 million for Souček, and who didn't particularly want to leave, and then we would all lose our fucking minds.
Yeah.
So it just depends on who leaves and under what circumstances. But I don't expect any fire sale. I don't think there's going to be a line of clubs throwing money at us for maybe other than Declan Rice. I don't think we're going to be struggling to keep the squad together. I mean, we're not that fucking good, you know what I mean?
Really quickly to answer a question as well. Matthew, I think so. It's just not going to be as intense. Like, I'm not going to be following, like, if they're saying, we're going after a £3 million guy. I'm going to be looking more at the more serious potential rumors. It just honestly, that one in the summer was time consuming. It was probably 30 minutes to an hour every single day of researching.
Yeah.
So and for those of you who may not know, over the summer, or in this case, the fall transfer window before the season, I was curious because we always talk about how West Ham get linked with every single player under the sun. So I decided to put that to the test, and I put together a spreadsheet of every single player we were linked to, and it numbered in the several hundreds.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's hard to keep up. I actually find it quite a bit better now that X doesn't really tweet that stuff anymore. That he's doing it for the Patreons on his other radio show, whatever it is. Well, I actually find it a lot quieter.
Yes. And it is funny, though, because I follow guys like, I'll give him a shout out because I'm decent friends with him through Twitter, but West Ham Fan Zone. And he's subscribed to the Patreon. And so anytime they do a podcast, he'll just tweet out the news anyway. So why should I pay for it when it's coming through Twitter anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
I never listen to the podcasts for the two of them. I just listen to it for the news.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But I tend to not pay too much attention to the Hey, Fo. Happy New Year, bud. Yeah. um, yeah, I tend to only pay very limited attention to transfer rumors. Very limited. Unless I start to see something quite solid.
Yeah, I
That's the only time I actually get interested, to be honest.
one of the most accurate or one of the most reliable sources in terms of journalists is that Nico Sharia, or
Yeah.
you pronounce it, in Italy, and we've opened a few talks, including one for Pele. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, the 35-year-old Italian striker who's a current free agent.
Fuck's
So
sake.
I mean that's just the West Ham way. There's nothing we can do about that.
No, just except no. I don't know.
And
I don't think Moyes would go for that.
the most intriguing one though, obviously, is the Christian Eriksen. Doubt that we'll get him just due to wages and because he's waiting on PSG, but it is interesting that we've at least interacted with Inter Milan about him.
Yeah, like I say, I take no notice. To be honest, take no notice. So I'll tell you another thing I want to do, Chris, because I like to be fair.
Yeah.
And balanced. I went on a massive rant about Moyes after the Brighton game.
Yeah.
Massive rant.
I know it's coming. Yep.
I was more balanced in the Southampton game because I thought it was much more like it. I did like the team he put out. We played okay. Got a decent draw away at Southampton. Tonight, I have to give him huge credit because he got everything absolutely spot on tonight. Everything. The formation was right. The 11 he put out was spot on. Absolutely, Mark. 100%. Absolutely spot on with the formation. Absolutely spot on with the first 11. And I have to say, and this is where I give him the most credit, because this is where I think he's fallen short too many times. When that game was in the balance, he brought on players that were clearly intended to go and win the game. It was in the balance, say 30 minutes to go. He started making the substitutions that could potentially go and win us that game.
Made the correct substitutions.
He didn't get conservative. He didn't think, okay, a point here is good. We'll consolidate the point. He put on players that were designed to go and win us that game. So obviously brought Antonio on for Haller.
Great.
And then made a double substitution.
Which that's rare in itself for him.
Yeah. No, Yarmolenko came on. We knew that was going to be for Bowen because he's basically going to do that every game anyway. And that's a like for like. And Yarmolenko, while I don't think he can play 90-minute games, I think he can be very good as an impact sub. He can hurt defenses who are tiring. So I'm fine with that. I think good sub. Okay, fresh legs out there. Yarmo has a bit about him. He can do very well against tiring defenses. Lanzini came on. And in my head, I thought, right, he's going to take Benrahma off and just replace him with Lanzini, which is another basically like for like substitution. And fair enough, it's still a positive one because again, yeah, Lanzini, fresh legs, hopefully can hurt a tiring defense. But he did something even better. He brought Lanzini on for Fornals and had that three across that attacking line of Benrahma, Lanzini, and Yarmolenko. And I thought, wow, that's attacking for David Moyes. That's David Moyes saying, I'm putting on players that can hurt you and win this game. We're going for the 3 points. And I was absolutely delighted to see that. And I really hope he does that more often because that game was absolutely there to be won. We were getting on top already of Everton. We looked like the most likely team to score, but we just weren't creating anything. So he brought on players that he felt could go and create something and make something happen. Took off Fornals instead of Benrahma. And I was so happy to see that. I wanted to give the man a round of applause when I saw that it was Fornals coming off and not Benrahma. I thought he's absolutely going for this. He wants these 3 points because they're there for the taking if we just have the bravery to go for it. And I'm delighted that he had the bravery to go for it. And please, David Moyes, take that attitude into games more often.
Yes.
Put the attacking players on the pitch. Have that balanced team. And when a game is there that we can go for it, go for it. If we'd have lost that 1-0 tonight, I still wouldn't be sitting here blaming Moyes. I really wouldn't. I'd have been said, I'm really glad he went for it.
We always joke on Twitter about the David Moyes masterclass. That was a David Moyes masterclass. I mean, that was. I mean, that was just he outcoached. In this instance, he outmanaged Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah, exactly as Matthew Howard is saying, because it was something that would have been a real Moisey substitution.
Oh,
I'll take off Benrahma, throw Noble in. We'll try and secure the point. We've seen that far too often, that kind of thinking from Moyes. So I'm absolutely delighted with Moyes. I have to say, he got it absolutely bang on tonight. And because of that, because he had the cojones, let's say, to actually say, right, we're going for the win here. I'm putting on players that can hurt you and make something happen and win us this game. And it worked. We won the game. Because it's like I said to you, it sends a message to players. When you make those substitutions, it says to all of the other players that are still on the pitch, okay, we're going for this. We're going for the win. And they play that way.
Yep.
They play like a team that wants to go and get the 3 points. If he'd have done the opposite and say brought on Noble for Benrahma, what does that say to the players? That says, okay, Gaffer wants us to just make sure we get the point here. And they'll play like they just want to get the point.
Yep.
So kudos to David Moyes. That was one of his better games. Even I know our performance wasn't brilliant or anything. I know it wasn't a great game, but that's on the players because he got it right. So kudos to David Moyes. Fair play to him. This is one of his better games as our manager, I believe, even though, like I say, it wasn't one of our better performances, but it was definitely one of our better performances from the manager, if not from all the players. But credit to him. I thought he was absolutely spot on tonight.
Yeah. But listen, you got it spot on there. You're exactly right. We are closing in on the hour mark here, so I figure we should probably wrap up. Do you have anything else you'd like to throw out there?
Not in particular. Just hope we put out a reasonably strong side against Stockport and go and try and win that game. Listen, fatigue isn't going to be a thing now. It's not. It's really not. Like the games are not going to be coming thick and fast now. Again, we're kind of settling now back into game every weekend, more or less. Might have the odd midweek game, but more or less, it's from here on. It's kind of just game at the weekend. So I'd like to see not a full strength team, but a strong team against Stockport.
Yeah.
But other than that, unless people have any questions.
Yeah.
Apache's right there. That's the thing tonight. Moyes did do what many of us fans wanted. This is basically, if fans were running the team, this is what would be happening. More or less, right? We all have our opinions about different players, but more or less, these are the kinds of West Ham teams you would see. And these are basically the kind of substitutions you would see. If fans were kind of running the team, this is how it would look. And Moyes did that tonight, 100%. So fair play to him. Yeah. And as usual, fans are always right.
To your point, though, about matches coming thick and fast, obviously we have the 10-day break before the Stockport match, and then we have an additional 5 games before the Burnley match. But from Burnley matches on the 16th. Then we have West Brom on the 19th and Crystal Palace on the 27th. So we have 3 games in 11 days. And then the very next run of matches, you have Liverpool the 31st, Villa the 2nd, and then Fulham the 6th. So in 1 week, we have 3 matches. And then it starts settling into one every week again.
Yeah. And then March, we have an international break, right? So there should be a break in the games there of like 2 weeks or something.
We face our 20th of March, and then the next match isn't until the 3rd of April against Wolves.
Yeah, so we've got a break now. Then we've got a little kind of run of games, and we've got another break in March, and then we play kind of week to week till the end of the season. So I don't want to hear about fatigue from here on out. I think from here on out we'll be fine. Yeah, I think David Martin will play in goal just because of Fabianski's injury. I think normally that would be a game where Randolph would be thrown in, but we're going to need him.
It all depends on how the severity of the injury.
Yeah, Ashby I really like. Problem for Ashby now is that Kofel is so good. It's just Ashby's going to have to get in line, I'm afraid. But I'd have no problem with Ashby being, a backup right back or something. That's be fine with me. He looks really good. Diop Baptiste, they're all good. Some good young players there. Yeah.
There's a good chance Fredericks plays.
Yeah, I don't know how long he's got to sit out with COVID.
Well, I mean, considering that it's 10 days, there's a good possibility that he'll return negative tests by then.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that would be fine if he plays Fredericks. He plays Fredericks. That's no problem.
Yeah. Father Snowman. Yeah, I must go start streaming for Alabama Notre Dame. Yeah, I have my Buckeyes on tonight against Clemson. So, but on top of that as well, at 8 o'clock, that game is at 8. So at 8 o'clock as well, I will be on Friday Night Likes, the final the last semifinal match of this season at least. I don't know if we'll do another one. Tommy is already in the final, so we're hoping for a post-match show.
Yeah,
final.
That would be nice. If one of us won it, that would be cool. Bragging rights for. See, this is why we're on this show, because we fucking know everything. Just like the people in the chat room, no questions because they already know everything. So we're all very smart in this show.
Yeah. But so everyone, if you can, make sure you turn into Friday Night Likes. It is 8 o'clock Eastern time. That is 1 a.m. UK time. So a little late, but obviously. But if you can make it come out, I'm sure it'll be a good time. I'm not sure if we are going to be streaming for following the Stockport match or not.
No, I don't. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm happy to. But we don't normally do cup games. But
watch it. I don't know if I'll have a good enough stream.
Yeah. We usually don't because you find it tough to. You can usually because it is live on TV over here. So it is being streamed live over here, Chris. So
okay, yeah.
Sorry, it's being shown live on TV here. So that usually means you should have no problem getting a stream.
Yeah, if it is, we'll see. If not, we are on a 2-week hiatus. We'll be back for the Burnley match, which will be next or 2 Saturdays from tomorrow. So if we don't see us after the Stockport match, you'll see us right back here. As always, I want to thank my co-host Tommy for joining me. I want to thank everyone for joining in the chat. Good first win for 2021. Hopefully it can continue. And until later, come on, you Irons.
I'm watching you too, foe. Come on, you Irons.